Hello there, friends and followers, and welcome to this live stream. This is Q8Pilot, your host for today's show, and today we are going to be flying one of my absolute favorite aircraft for X-Plane 11, no other than the FlyJSim Boeing 727. Today we're going to be flying the cargo variant of the aircraft, and we're going to be doing a short flight from Ontario International Airport in the state of California to Phoenix, Arizona. Today I decided to do something a little different, and I will be taking you through the flight planning that I do normally for this kind of flight. We're going to be flying VOR to VOR today, so something a little different, maybe a little more challenging for some of you guys. So stay tuned for more flight planning instructions and guide as we go through this live stream today. I want to welcome all of you guys who just joined the stream. Welcome. We have got with us Steve from Texas, and yes, it was snowing in Texas. A friend of mine sent me some live footage earlier yesterday. It was snowing. It was very cold weather in Texas. So I hope you guys are staying safe and well over there. We've got Josh, 5 Mike Alpha, Toronto Aviator, Omar, and we've got Stan. Hello there, my friend, and welcome. So the first thing we're going to do today, and by the way, we're going to be using Sim Toolkit Pro for all intended purposes today for flight planning. If you are unfamiliar with Sim Toolkit Pro, I highly recommend that you reach out and get it. It is by far the very best EFB and flight planning tool available today for flight simming. It's jam-packed with features, and it is absolutely free of charge. So, what we're going to be doing first today is I'm going to bring up Sim Toolkit Pro, and we're going to start everything together today. So we're going to go to the flight schedule, and this is our flight here today, UPS 850. We're flying the FlyJSim Boeing 727, registration number November 208, Uniform Papa. We're going to be flying from Ontario to Phoenix. Flight time's about 48 minutes. So I've scheduled this flight. By the way, this flight is a real-world scheduled flight, but it is not on a 727, but rather on a Boeing 767. So we're going to go ahead and click here on the dispatch, and we are going to enter the aircraft, which is a 727. This is the one that we want here. And we're going to say generate plan. We'll leave everything here as it is, and we're going to click on generate. And then it's going to start doing its stuff, and it's going to load the sim brief plan. Now, the reason we're doing this is we're going to get the departure and arrival runways, and that's pretty much it. And we're just going to wait for it to load. So as you can see, we are going to be departing Ontario today, runway 26 right, and arriving into Phoenix, runway 08. We will be performing an ILS approach. This is an ILS approach at Phoenix. So we're going to go ahead and say fly now, and we're going to get the cruise altitude. Let's say connect to X-plane. Cruise altitude is 27,000 feet for the flight. And we are now going to put this, actually what we're going to do is we're going to bring up SkyVector. So we are flying VOR to VOR today, so we are going to enter the departure airport as Kilo Oscar November Tango, and the arrival is Kilo Papa Hotel X-ray. All right. So now we've got the departure and destination airports. We are going to zoom in a little bit here on the departure. And since we are runway 26 right, by the way, is this runway here. So this is, let me just zoom in a little more. So this one here is runway 26 right. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to select this VOR station here, like so. And we're going to select the Paradise VOR station. And from the Paradise VOR station, we're going to go to the Palm Spring VOR station. And then, let's see, this is the one, next one along our path. So we're going to go ahead and select Blythe at 117.4. And the next one, and let's see here. So this is the next VOR station along our path. So we're going to select that one, which is the Buckeye at 110.60. So plan that one. And then this is Phoenix International. We're going to select the VOR station here, and Phoenix at 115.6. All right. I'm going to go ahead and remove all the airways from the flight plan. And by the way, if you want the flight plan, just simply click, type in !route, and you should be able to get the flight plan. If you're interested in the scenery of both airports, they are both freeware airports available on the X-plane.org. And for the links to them, simply type !DEP for departure and !ARR for the arrival airport. All right. So this is our flight plan today, and we're going to just copy that real quick. And let's see here. We are going to the speed. We can put 270 knots. Altitude is 27,000. And we can click on Navlog. Right, the Navlog for some reason isn't doing what it's supposed to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring up the browser, and we're going to go to SkyVector. And we are just going to have to do this again so that we can get the Navlog. Ontario to Phoenix. There we go. And we're just going to quickly select the same VOR stations. So this is Paradise, Palm Springs, and then Let's see here. There we go. And let's see there. There we go. Buckeye. And then Phoenix. All right, so Phoenix is, let's make sure that Phoenix is selected. No, it did not select Phoenix, so let's make sure that the VR station is selected. There we go. And we can now remove all the airways. And we are good. All right. So we've got all the stations here, and what we can do now is we can click on Navlog, and now we will have all the VOR stations that we need in the Navlog with the top of climb and the top of descent. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to hop into the cockpit and we're going to enter those frequencies. So let me just do this here. I'm not sure why we haven't gotten the... all right, so 112.2. All right, so we're going to go hop here and go to the radios. And we're going to enter 112.2. And the next one would be, let's see here, 115.5. 115.5. And then it's 117.4. So 117.4. And 110.6 is already set, and we've got one more station, which is Papa X-Ray Romeo, which is 115.6. And then, of course, we're going to need the we don't need this anymore. We need, of course, the ILS frequency, which we can get once we are airborne. If we go to Navigraph, and you can see that our flight plan is loaded, but what we can do here is the following. We can type the route, and we can remove everything here. Let's see here. Clear the routes, yes. And we're going to just type in the VOR stations and say save. And now we can see a visual representation of our route to, this is our flight, so this is the first VOR station, and we can follow the flight path here as we progress through to Phoenix. Perfect. Okay, now it's time to prep the aircraft, so we are going to put this away for a little while here. And I absolutely adore this aircraft, one of the absolute best for X-Plane 11. I want to welcome all of you guys who just joined us here. We are now ready to start prepping the aircraft. So we are going to head over to the engineer station here, and we're going to power up the battery. Battery is on. We're going to make sure the galley power is off for now. And this one is on APU. That's perfectly fine. While we're at it, we're going to set the altitude to 27,000 feet. The landing altitude at Phoenix we can get once we are airborne. And let's go ahead and start the APU. Let's make sure system hydraulic A is on and system B is off. Perfect. Let's go ahead and test the APU real quick. Checks okay. And let's go ahead and start the APU. We're just going to hold it a little while until it starts. And we can release now and watch the EGT rises. And everything should be fine in a little while. Paul, hello there, my friend, and welcome. AvGeek, how are you doing, my friend? How much does this plane cost? I absolutely have no idea how much it cost, but you can, the link to it is provided. Just type !aircraft. I believe it's $59.95, something like that. But yeah, if you want to check out the features, simply type !aircraft, and you should be able to get the aircraft link at the FlyJSim website. All right, so we're waiting for the APU. APU is almost there, and today for our flight, all right, so we can now start the aircraft. We've got power now, APU power, and let's see here. Let's see, this one we can turn on the galley power on. External power we don't need. This is on APU, which is perfectly okay, and all is looking good here. Let's go ahead and turn on the left pack, get some air into the cabin, make sure our passengers are comfortable, and everything else looks good here. We're gonna bring up the payload. So for our flight today, we are gonna need, let's just close this momentarily and take a look here at the fuel. We need about 19.2, so 19.3, 19.4. All right. So we are going to say, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, let's see, 19.5 is about right. So we'll leave it there, and we'll leave everything else the same for center for the cargo, and we are good there. Next, we are going to go to the takeoff data. We're going to do flaps 5 today for departure. And that gives us a V1 of 136, V rotate of 136, and V2 of 148. We're going to click here to set the bugs, and we're going to turn on the fuel pumps. All right, so all the fuel pumps are turned on. All right, let's head over to the overhead panel. Radios are all set, so we are good to go there. And let's see here. Stall warning test. Flight recorder test, all checks okay, and cargo fire test checks okay. We're going to set the auto brake to rejected takeoff, and emergency light is armed, and we're going to check everything here is good. Non-smoking and fasten seatbelt signs are on. Let's make sure those work fine, which they do. We're going to check all the lights here to make sure that they are also operational. We're going to turn on the window heat, and that is set. We're going to also check to make sure that all the lights are functional and there are no faults. Okay, so we are pretty much ready now to push back and start the aircraft. So what we can do is we bring up the checklist. So before start checklist, cockpit is prepared, briefing is confirmed, anti-skid is on, stall warning has been checked, emergency light is armed, flight instruments are set, airspeed bugs are set, parking brake is set, and let's see here, rudder and aileron trim 0 and 0, fuel is 9,500 pounds, is set, hydraulics quantity is normal. Ground equipment, we'll check this as soon as we push back. All right, so let's turn on the navigation light, beacon lights, and we are now, ladies and gentlemen, ready to push back out of our position. Let's set our altitude to 27,000 feet, which is our final cruise altitude today. All right, we're also going to set the course for our next VOR station, and let's see here, there we go. And we're going to set the heading bug as well. All right. So we are good now, and we're ready to call the pushback truck and push out of our position. We no longer need this. We'll leave the checklist for now, and we'll continue with the checklist. So before start, all right, so nav, beacon, galley power is off. Right, so galley power is off and beacon is on. CSD oil cooler flight is on, which is located right here, and that is set. The packs should be off, which they are now, and the bleeds are open. Bleed pressure is okay, as you can see here. We have good pressure, so we are now ready to push out of our position and start the engines. All right, welcome everyone who's just joined us here at the stream. We are ready to start our engines now, And we are going to call the pushback truck.
Ground to cockpit, please show me where you want to go. Ground to cockpit, tow is driving up.
I'm glad that we got runway 26 right for departure because it's a short taxi from the UPS hangar here. So we should be on our way momentarily. Here's the pushback truck going through all the vehicles here. What a beautiful scenery of Ontario. By the way, this is a freeware airport, and I'm using Orbex True Earth for California. Very, very nice indeed. In fact, I did this flight in Microsoft Flight Simulator. And I'll tell you, I prefer the Orbex scenery over the Microsoft Flight Simulator scenery.
Ready to connect.
All right, so we're connecting the tow right now. We are done with this checklist here. After start, did we miss anything here? We just have to make sure that the ground equipment is clear. And then this is the after start checklist. All right. Hello there, Franco. How are you, my friend? We have today, ladies and gentlemen, Franco from Argentina.
So connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
All right, parking brake is released. Let's set the trim.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
All right, we have clearance to start our engines, folks. So we are going to open the guards here, and we're going to start with the engine number 3. And we're going to watch the EGT rising here. And at about 20%, we're going to introduce fuel. There we go. And we're good to introduce fuel now. Sorry, that's engine number 2. Let's bring up some brief here real quick. Just take a look at the weather here at Ontario. Variable weather, 3 knots, 10 for visibility, few clouds at 2,500. Temperature 16 Celsius, altimeter 3026. All right, let's set that 3026. And we're going to set the same here, 3026. All right, is set, and we can start the engine number 1 now.
So aircraft data is uniform, currently 320 altimeter 3003.
We've got S May 17. Love your videos, sir. I've written my own checklist based on your tutorials. Oh, well, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Appreciate your kind words. All right, and we can introduce fuel now for engine number 1. Absolutely phenomenal scenery of Orbex, True Earth, California.
Hawaiian 4 Heavy is Juliet, cross runway.
And this airport again is a freeware airport. All right, engine number 1 looks like we're good. We're going to go ahead and start the engine number 3 now. Right, engine number 3 is now spooling.
39, contact departure.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
All right, parking brake is set. And
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
we can now introduce fuel. Perfect. Flight for Fun says hello from, can't read that, Belarus, is it? Why can't you fly VR to VR here? We are flying VR to VR today. Can you do any flight inside Argentina? Absolutely. If you can just send me the, the flight route that you prefer, and I will schedule for my perhaps next flight. All right, so we have a good start on all the engines now. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to set the bus ties. Bus ties are good. And we can now turn on, actually what we'll do is turn on hydraulics B on. Fuel is set for takeoff. That is good. And we can now turn off the APU. Ground power unit is off. And we'll set this to Gen 1. And that should take care of the lights there. Okay, let's do the before takeoff checklist. Anti-ice as required. Window heat is on. We're going to turn on the probe heat as well. pitot heat is on. Flight controls. Full up, full down, full left, full right, and pedal full left, full right, and flight control check is complete. Spoilers, we're going to set flaps 5 for departure. Strap trim is set. Flaps are set. Auto brake is set to RTO. Galley power. Let's turn those to on. And let's see here. Electrical, no lights. We are good there. Fuel heat is off. That's fuel heat right here, which looks okay. And let's see. Hydraulics are normal, which they are. APU is off. Flight ground switch to flight, and that is the flight you find here. Set to flight. Number 2 bleeds closed, and those are in the number 2 bleeds. And start switches are guarded. Transponder to TARA, and the rear transponder is here on the 727. Strobe and landing lights on. We'll take care of that right before we auto pack trip. Cabin is secured. All right, so we're going to remove the checklist for now. We are good to taxi. So we're going to turn on the taxi light and runway turn off lights. And we're going to release the parking brake and head over to the runway. Perfect. All's looking good so far. Did we set the cabin pressure? That's a good one. Let's set the cabin pressure. Thank you very much for that. Cabin pressure is, I think it's fine. It's on auto. We need cargo heat outflow, gas per fan, and we need, that's about right there. All right. I think we're good. Alrighty.
American 2811, RNAV Doctor, wind 310 at 4, runway 25 right,
All right, so we're all set now, and we're ready to go. And our first VR station is not too far from, about 9 nautical miles from our current position, so it should be a fun flight. I haven't flown the FlyJSim 727 in a while, but it should be good fun today. And I get questions on the 727 versus 737 by FlyJSim, and I will tell you folks, they are equally great aircraft, beautiful sounds, high fidelity, extreme fun, just really beautiful aircraft by FlyJSim. And FlyJSim, of course, is known for creating very high fidelity aircraft. So if you are to pick one of them and you're on a budget, let's say, and you can only pick one, personally, I would go with the 727. I think it's kind of more fun, and it's got the engineer station. And both aircraft, by the way, are compatible with the SIVA INS. If you are interested in flying with the SIVA INS, I have a tutorial also on how to set up the SIVA INS for the FlyJSim 727.
25 right at Foxtrot, quick to take off, far left.
Just look at that. Really fine aircraft by FlyJSim. Right, we're going to cross runway 26 left for runway 26 right. Landing lights turned on. Strobe is on. And wing lights are on.
Approaching 26 left.
All right, and here we go. This is runway 26 right. We are clear for takeoff, ladies and gentlemen. Buckle up and let's go to Phoenix. All right, here we go. That's our turn.
6 right.
26 right. All right, and let's set takeoff power. Here we go. Checked.
Rotate.
Rotate. And positive rate of climb. Gear is going up. And we're going to begin our turn to intercept the VOR station. We are looking good. What is going on? Oh no. Please don't crash. Thank God. Wow, just beautiful scenery of Orbex. Right, we're looking good. Flaps 1. Or actually flaps 2 on the 727. And we're going to go ahead and retract the flaps. All right, so for the autopilot, here's what we're going to do. We're going to engage the autopilot. We're going to set heading select, alt select, and IS mode, VOR, VOR lock, and there we go. And we just need to adjust. There we go. As you can see now, we have intercepted the VOR station. We are about 7 nautical miles from the VOR station now, and the aircraft is doing its thing. We can now track the flaps and put the gear in the lock position. Beautiful scenery. Let's take a look here. Just look at that. right, let's see how we're doing here. We are going to move the bug to 250 knots. There we go. And we are approximately 3 nautical miles down from the VOR station. And we're going to continue our climb. Now, as soon as we hit the 250, we're going to climb again. Everything's looking good. You can see L select will of course turn green once we hit 27,000 feet, which is set here. Right, 10,000 feet. Let's kill the lights. Wing lights, we don't need anymore. And we are looking good, ladies and gentlemen. Climbing through 10,000 feet to 27,000 feet. As you can see now, the needle has flipped because we are now flying away from the VOR station. So we are going to switch to the next VOR station, which is the Palm Springs VOR station, and we are about 54 nautical miles from the next VOR station. It's doing its own thing. So we'll let it do what it needs to do. The scenery of Orbx True Earth is phenomenal, and the color, by the way, I prefer the color of Orbx True Earth over the Microsoft Flight Simulator scenery. It looks just so much better. And yeah, I've done the same flight in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and this one is just so much better. Alright, so we are now flying towards the Palm Springs VOR station. We can bring up Sim Toolkit Pro, and we can bring up Navigraph here. And let's see if we can bring the aircraft. There we are. That's us right there, and that's the VOR station. So we should fly right towards the next one. This is the Palm Springs station. This is the first VOR station. That's our departing airport. So we're looking good, and we should correct, the aircraft should correct its, its heading as soon as we, I think right about here you'll see that it's, it'll fly towards the VOR station. So all is looking good now. We can dismiss this and dismiss that. All right, let's take a look here, what's going on. We can adjust the radial slightly there. There we go. And we're doing just fine. Climbing through 250 knots, we can increase our speed now to about 260 knots. All is looking good. Let's take a look here. I wonder why. All right, that's good. It's good that we've checked. Everything looks good here. All right. So we are looking pretty good now. We are heading towards the Palm Springs VOR station. And by the way, we can also bring the map here, and we can see this is the Palm Springs VOR station. This is our position here. So we are heading directly to the Palm Springs VOR station. So all's looking good for us right now. All right, let me see if I can answer some questions. Alex, the aviator, I missed the departure. Sorry about that. Stan, thank you very much for your donation of $20. Very kind of you, my friend. And of course, all the donations will be given to the support the children's charity through March 1st. All right. So at this point, there's nothing for us to do except really monitor the radios and make sure that we switch the VR stations. Now, normally what I do is I enter all the VR stations, but then I use these two for the active frequencies. So the next station is 117.4. What we're going to do is we're going to bring this one over here. So we'll put 117.4. All right. And once we're ready, we'll just flip the radio to this frequency so it becomes the active. And currently we are heading to Palm Springs. That's perfectly okay. Now what we can do is I think I've removed the, yeah, that's fine. We can go to Navigraph, and if we go to this station here, so the frequency is 115.6. So what we can do is we can put here 1110.6 and 115.6 on this side, and now we have all the frequencies we need for the flight, with the exception of the ILS frequency, which we can of course get later on. Some external view for you guys. All right, we continue our climb to 27,000 feet, our final cruise altitude. How to share flight plans with SimBrief. You can use. There are multiple ways you can do SimBrief flight plans. You can. All right, let's wait for cruise altitude, and once we're there, I will show you guys a few tips and tricks in SimBrief. Absolutely phenomenal tool. Keeps improving, absolutely free of charge. One of the best, really, I've seen. And by the way, I've uninstalled all the other flight planning tools. I exclusively use SimToolkit Pro for all my flight planning needs in both Microsoft Flight Simulator and X-Plane 11. That is a good advice from Marcel. Says, before flipping to the next VOR, I suggest going to heading mode, so you are able to switch frequencies and course to the next VOR without getting the aircraft into a roll or having to quickly change the course. That is actually a very good advice, and we are now reaching 27,000. We're going to go ahead and switch to 117.4. I think we should be fine. Let's set the heading bug. And as you can see now, alt select is green. It means the aircraft has reached the cruise altitude and will begin to level off now. And now our speed is going to start going up, so we're going to need to reduce power as the aircraft levels off about 80% or so, and we're just going to monitor the speed, make sure we don't gain or lose. All right, so we are at 27,000 feet now, which is our final cruise altitude today. Glenn, love your streams, Q8. You are a true credit to the flight sim community. Thank you very much, my friend. We really appreciate your kind words. All right. So we are now ready to flip to the next VR station. There we go. Alrighty. Alright, so we're set now. We're heading to the next VOR station. And we are about 79 nautical miles. So at the end, about 5 nautical miles at the end of this leg of our flight, we're going to begin the descent into Phoenix. And I'll tell you, this is beautiful scenery of California. Just look at that. Phenomenal. Oh, we did not change the 29902. You're absolutely right. Thanks for letting me know. Right, so the aircraft should climb a little more. And let's do this on this side as well. There we go. Bear reference set to standard. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Right, so we're on a direct course to the next VOR station. And the next one is going to be 110.6. So we're going to set 1.6 here. And we've got 115.6 is Phoenix VOR station. And now, ladies and gentlemen, what we can do is we can go and get the frequency for the ILS. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to go to Phoenix, and we're going to click on the charts, and we're going to go to the approach, runway 08. That's runway 08 right there. Can remove this here. Where are we? We're right there. As you can see, we are. All right. Okay, I'm not sure what happened there. I think it must be pressure or something. Not sure. Everything looks good though. All right. So, what we're going to be doing is we were looking at the ILS frequency. So we are right here. You can see we are traveling in direct heading to the next VOR station. And this is the approach plate for runway 08 at Phoenix. So the final approach course 078 degrees. The ILS DME frequency is 111.75. which we are going to enter here, 111.75. There we go. JB, hello there, my friend, and welcome to the stream. Right, we're still looking good, 55 nautical miles, and we should be able to begin our descent in approximately 40 nautical miles into Phoenix. You can still see that we're now flying at the outskirts of the state of California, heading into Arizona. We should have closed these. All right. All right, so I know a lot of you guys have asked for more Microsoft Flight Simulator content. The New World Update number 3 was just released a few days ago, covering the Great Britain, or actually the UK and Ireland. And yeah, I mean, no performance improvements there, so it's pretty much the same in terms of performance, but there were a few fixes. So one of the 2 notable fixes is the film grain issue with the clouds has been fixed now, so there is no need for any tweaks or anything like that. The clouds look absolutely phenomenal in Microsoft Flight Simulator. And the other thing, there was an issue with some third-party airports not causing CTDs. That has been also resolved in the recent update. And of course, lots and lots of points of interest in the UK and Ireland. So, yeah, it looks pretty good. I think it's... right, let me set the heading bug there. All right, oil's looking good. So yeah, in terms of the recent updates to Microsoft Flight Simulator, I think there is definitely a roadmap for improvements, and it is a very promising sim. I just really find X-Plane to be more enjoyable at this point, with all the high-fidelity aircrafts available, and the realism in terms of the flight model is just, to me, it feels more real when flying in X-Plane than in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I do like the multiplayer mode in Microsoft Flight Simulator, though. It's a bunch of fun flying with other folks around the world. So definitely, definitely lots of fun to fly in Microsoft Flight Simulator. In terms of reviews and videos, so actually it turns out that doing streams is slightly easier than doing videos, and that's probably the reason why I haven't been posting that many videos and just really doing live streams. So the live stream doesn't require any editing, and so it is probably less time consuming for my current schedule, because I do the stream and then I'm done pretty much. So, but I am planning some videos on the channel very soon. Hello there, my friend, and welcome. All right, so we are not too far away now from the top of descent mark, and we have to be quite careful with the aircraft. See, the 727 doesn't have an auto throttle, so everything is pretty much manual, so we have to be careful about our speed. Speaking of that, let's go ahead and take a look at... no, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's take a look at the landing. All right, so we're going to do flaps 30 for landing, VREF of 128. We're going to add about 5 knots to that. That gives us a final approach speed of 133 knots today. Let's go ahead and set the bugs. And flaps 30, and everything else is looking good here. Straight in approach, really at runway 08. If we would have gotten runway 26, it would have been the other way. So we would have to take the next VOR station and then make a left turn for runway 26. But yeah, we got a straight in approach for runway 8. And we should begin our top of descent. We should begin the descent momentarily. 13 nautical miles. Yeah, so at the next VOR station, we'll begin the descent. All right. Now, for the next VOR station, it's quite. I think it won't register immediately here. So what we're going to do is we're going to head to heading select, and once the VOR station is picked up by the aircraft's navigational radio, we will switch to VOR mode again. All right, so what I'm going to do at this point is we're going to do heading select, and we're going to switch to the next VOR station, 110.6. All right, and we're just going to wait to pick up the next station, and then we'll switch to VOR mode, and we need to start the descent now. So we are going to go to IS mode. We're going to set our altitude to 12,000 feet. And now we need to retard the throttles for the aircraft to begin the descent. And let's make sure we hit on L select. Now the way you do this is if we set the IS to this speed here and we retard the throttle, the aircraft needs to compensate for that in order to maintain the same speed, and so it will dive in order to compensate and keep the speed at the selected speed here, as you can see. So now if I wanted to increase the rate of descent, I will retard the throttle further, and as you can see now the vertical speed has increased. We're at about 1,500 feet per minute. And we are now descending towards Phoenix. I uninstalled Flight Simulator completely. It takes too long to load up and crashes too much. Hello, Better. How are you doing? I'm doing very well, thank you very much. Do you speak Arabic? Yes, I do. Definitely. Descending in 727 can be very tricky. Absolutely. Absolutely. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not sure what's going on here, but let's go ahead and all right, here we go. All right, so we're descending again. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at where we are. So we are right here. This is the next VR station. So we are on the right heading still, and it should start registering momentarily here in the aircraft navigational system. We're still looking pretty good. All right, as you can see now, we've registered the VR station. We are approximately 79 nautical miles. We're descending at a comfortable rate to 12,000. We can now switch to VOR. There we go. And now the aircraft will adjust itself and head over to the right. There we go. So it's doing its thing. There we go. Perfect. All right. So if you can actually spot this area here, you will see this is the end of Orbix True Earth, and this is the beginning of Phoenix. So this is the end of the state of California. And now if we take a look at the flight plan, you can see that we're not heading in the right direction. But we can do this, and that should put us right on track. A few clouds here as we approach Phoenix. There we go. And as you can see, we are still descending now. Let's go ahead and take a look at the platform altitude. All right, so we need to be at 3,000 to intercept the glide slope and the final approach course 078. Perfect. And we continue our descent. Everything's looking good. All right, so the next VOR station is 115.6, so we're going to set this here, 115.6, and that's the Phoenix VOR station, and this is the ILS frequency. So 115.6, we are approximately 104 nautical miles from our destination. And we're going to bring up Sim Toolkit Pro once more, and we're going to take a note of the weather at our destination. So the weather is 090 degrees, 7 knots wind. Then we've got 10 nautical miles visibility, clear. No clouds, 17 Celsius, altimeter is 3027, so we're looking good. Should be a rather smooth approach into Phoenix. All right, we're coming up to our transition altitude, so we're going to set the altimeter to 3026, 3026. And we're going to do the same thing on the first officer side, 3026. There we go. Captain, I want a trip within Saudi Arabia from the city of Jeddah to Ha'il. Sure, I will definitely plan this, and I'm planning a series of flights in this region, hopefully in the days to come. And I'll be flying from Qatar to Kuwait, to Dubai, to Saudi, Bahrain, you know, the whole region. And hopefully I'll be able to, you know, meet your request there. All right, I think what I want to do at this point is I want to take the aircraft to 240 knots. So, and we don't want to, so I'm just going to set the speed brake so we can get the speed there and continue to descend. Perfect. All right. So we continue our descent now, 49 nautical miles. We should be fine. I'm going to just slightly retard the throttle further, so we can increase our rate of descent just a little bit more. There we go. You can see the vertical speed is increasing as we retard the throttle. And we are now down to 15,000. Now, if we wanted to increase the rate of descent, we'll need the speed brakes a little bit. There we go. So hopefully that will help us descend a bit faster. We need to be at 3,000. So let's go ahead and change this to 3,000. There we go. 3,000 is set. And since we have this station, I'm going to set the ILS frequency here so we can see how far we are from the runway. As soon as it starts registering here, then we should be able to see it. All right, at this point, we are going to reduce our speed to 220 knots. There we go. And we're still looking good. So Captain, so the captain can decide which VS to use for getting his selected altitude at the... Sorry, I didn't get your question at the point. Well, normally you get instructions from ATC to decrease your speed. A comfortable vertical speed would be between 800 and 1200 feet per minute. But you know, sometimes you might need to extend that slightly if you're you know, if you're too late descending. So maybe you need to descend a little faster. But on a 3-degree glide slope, it would be recommended that you descend at about 1,000 to 1,200 feet per minute, which is, you know, a comfortable descend speed for your passengers. Anything more than that can get a little uncomfortable, but yeah. "32 nautical miles, so we are actually not too far now from our destination. And let's see here, we are approaching. I can't see the altitude very well because of the reflection. All right, so 10,500. All right, let's do this. All right, let's go ahead and turn on the landing lights. Landing lights are turned on. And we are almost there now, folks. It's not a question, Q8. I just tried to explain how to decide for a reasonable VS and use some more... Oh, thank you very much for the info. I appreciate it. The Phoenix VR station is not too far from where we are now, and if we bring up the Navigraph, you'll see that we are right here. So we're actually pretty close to our destination now. So that's where we are. This is the VR station we're heading to, and this is Phoenix. So we're pretty much almost there now. Maybe we can disarm the speed brake now. And continue our descent at about 1,000 feet per minute. Good evening from Germany. I turned in quite late. Hello there, my friend Nick. I'm glad that you made it. From Filippo is asking, are you online on VATSIM? No, I am not. Right, we are at 8,000 feet now. And we're still looking good, 22 nautical miles from the next VR station. I think we're looking good in terms of the rate of descent. And maybe slightly too low. But I think we're fine. Really enjoyable aircraft to fly, the FlyJSim 727. And for that matter, the 737-200, also by FlyJSim. I'm going to reduce our rate of descent, and the way you control it is, of course, if you add throttle, then your rate of descent would decrease, simply because the aircraft does not need to compensate as much, and so it would adjust the pitch as we are in hold IAS mode. Yeah, we're still looking pretty good. By the way, both sceneries, again, our departure at Ontario and arrival Phoenix are both freeware scenery available on the Explain.org forums. And you can always get the links to the airports by using the commands in the chat, exclamation DEP and exclamation ARR for the departure and arrival airports if you are interested. The Phoenix scenery is, by the way, by Mr. X, which is really a beautiful airport and totally free. We are performing an ILS approach today, runway 08 at Phoenix. A question by Max M. What kind of approach will be used? And we are at 6,000 for 3,000. Very nice, again, mesh by Mr. X. So this is the short final global, which is, you know, reasonable. Looks pretty good. Now I'll tell you guys, I'm not an expert in flying the FlyJSim, so I might have done some mistakes here and there, and so forgive me for those. But I hope that you can get you know, useful information on how to operate this aircraft. All right. Now we can see that we are about 50 nautical miles from the top of descent point. So we actually have quite a way to the runway. So we can decrease our rate of descent. I still can't see it because of the reflection, so 5,400. So definitely we can decrease our rate of descent. And we are coming up to the Phoenix VOR station now. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to switch the frequency to the Phoenix VOR. And let's see here. There we go. Pretty much the same heading. There we go. All right. So the next frequency that we're going to need to dial in is actually the runway frequency. So we're going to dial in 111.75 here for the runway frequency, and we're going to just continue now to descend to 3,000, and we should be fine. I think once we clear those mountains there, I think the airport is somewhere right over there. So 4, 5, 800, yeah, we're looking good. So right after we pass this area, we're going to reduce our speed, and we should be fine then. I think we're a bit too low, so let's go ahead and just give it a little bit more power and reduce our rate of descent. There we go. So we're going to just stabilize here at 4,600, and once we clear this area, then we'll begin the descent again to 3,000. Just want to make sure that we don't hit this mountain right in front of us. We should be able to clear it. but I think we've descended a little too much. How long is the runway? Well, that's a good question. I'm not sure, but it's a comfortable runway at Phoenix. Runway 08 is a long runway, so we should be fine. All right, here's so this is where we are. As you can see, we're heading right towards Phoenix right now, and this is the runway right there. So we're not too far from the runway. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch to heading select. Let's see here. All right, so first let's make sure that the heading bug is in the right direction, right there. And we're going to go to heading select. And we're going to keep the VOR there, but we're going to set the approach course to 078, which is the runway heading. We are going to reduce our speed now a little bit so we can start descending again to 3,000 feet, which is the platform altitude for runway 08. So let's retard the throttle here and begin the descent again to 3,000. In fact, what we need to do is go to about 200 knots there, and let's bring the speed brake a little bit so we can reduce it. So the approach course is now set, and we should now begin the descent to 3,000. And we're going to maintain about 200 knots. There we go. As you can see, we've begun the descent again. And what we're going to do is we're going to switch to the ILS frequency now. And make sure VR is selected here. And actually, no. We're going to go to auto approach and auto glide slope. All right, here we go. All right, we're going to hold now the altitude at 3,000 feet. We're slightly too low, I think. We are set for the approach now at Phoenix. Approximately 25 nautical miles. Yeah, we're definitely too low for this sector of the flight, but that should be fine. Let's take, right, so there we go. All right, so now we've intercepted the localizer. We definitely need to reduce our speed. All right, we're going to arm the speed brake. And we're going to make sure the rest of the lights are turned on. And we are, as you can see now, the aircraft has adjusted the heading in accordance with the localizer. You can see the localizer needle here, and that's the glide slope needle. And we are now going to reduce our speed to about 180 knots and maintain 180 knots. 200, speed check, flaps 2. And that's the runway right ahead of us now. Now everything from this point forward is pretty manual, so we need to make sure we control the speed, rate of descent, as we approach Phoenix. The runway is right ahead of us now, so we're pretty close now. All right, let's make sure we give it just a little more power here. Speed check, flaps 5. We're going to maintain the current speed, heading, altitude until the glide slope is active. We're going to be doing, of course, flaps 30 today, and 133 is our approach speed for runway 08 here at Phoenix. We're slightly off the localizer, but it should correct itself. You can see the aircraft pitching up because the speed is a bit too low, so we need to increase the speed. So let me just give it a little more speed here. There we go. Now you can see the runway in clear sight, and we should momentarily see the needle started, the glide slope needle start moving down. Right, we're looking good. Let's retard the throttle, keep it at about 180. And we're almost right on the localizer now. Speed brakes are armed, landing lights on. We are at flaps 5. Right, we can see the needle started to move now. We're a bit too fast, so I'm going to retard the throttle. Again, one of the most challenging things in the classical Boeing is really trying to keep the speed. We're slightly too fast, so I'm going to reduce the speed here. All right, the needle started moving now, as you can see. And I'm not sure why the glide slope hasn't kicked in. All right, gear is down. All right, here we go. Glide slope is active. And we're going to go to flaps 30 now. And we want to target 133 knots. Flaps 25. About 133 knots or so. And flaps 30. 1,000 feet. All right, let's make sure our speed is stable. All right, speed is good. All right, let's go ahead and disengage the autopilot. my aircraft. And we gotta make sure the speed is okay and our altitude. Got 2 whites and 2 reds. We're looking okay.
400. Flight slow. Flight slow. Flight slow. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
That's gonna be a floater there. And welcome to Phoenix, ladies and gentlemen. Reversers are out. Manual braking. And we've made it safely. Woohoo! Alrighty. Let's find a spot to park the aircraft, and then we will take a look at the replay.
And Southwest 4936. Actually, you know what?
Right, we can track the flaps.
So have to go down the runway, make the turn at hotel, and then rejoin Bravo at hotel instead.
Go down the runway, hotel, and then we'll join Bravo down to like the Boeing 4936.
And we no longer need the landing lights. Taxi on. Strobes are off. Wing lights are off. And I think we can park right over there.
Runway 1 right, clear for takeoff.
1 right, clear for takeoff, guys. 05.
It's really, I really enjoy flying the FlyJSim. Quite a challenging aircraft to fly, and it gives you a lot of appreciation of what pilots used to go through in the good old days.
Okay, Hotel Bravo, the 1 left behind, step a little over here.
All right, here we go.
Southwest 41898, San Francisco.
All right, marshal alert. All right, there we go. And let's set the parking brake. Parking brake is set. Alrighty. First of all, this is a look at, you know what, let me just kill the engines. Alright, so this is a look at, just listen at those sounds. Absolutely beautiful. So this is the airport. This is Phoenix International Airport, which is, again, a freeware scenery. So let's go ahead and take a look at the replay. Let's see here. No, that's, wait, let's see. That's about, there we go. Tower view.
Left clear to land, wind 26016.
I love this view. Look at that.
Southwest 4198, wind 260 at 16, runway 1 left, clear for takeoff.
1 left, clear takeoff, up to 4190. Runway 1 left, 4936,
All right, let's take a look at Sim Toolkit Pro, and we've got about minus 183 FPM, which is pretty good.
Delta 4198, contact for departure.
And we can do another. Let's see here. All right, let's do this. Bit of a floater there. Not too bad though. Well, there you have it, folks. Well, folks, I hope that you've enjoyed watching this stream as much as I enjoyed streaming it for you. And I really enjoyed flying this marvelous creation by FlyJSim, the Boeing 727 cargo variant of the aircraft. Of course, when you purchase the 727, you get three variants. You've got the 100, which is shorter aircraft, and then you've got the 200 advanced and the cargo variant of the aircraft. So you get really three aircraft, and it is one aircraft I definitely highly recommend. It is a very high fidelity and near to real simulation of the real Boeing 727. So definitely, if you're in the market for a high fidelity aircraft, this is one of the very best for X-Plane 11. Well, folks, I want to thank you very much for tuning in tonight. I hope that you've enjoyed it. And until next time, please take care of yourselves and each other. And I will see you all very soon. Thanks for tuning in tonight. And have a good night and stay safe. Bye-bye for now.
Sky 5534 is joining the final now. Just until visual 28 left and restricted 180 to 6.0.
Okay, 43, Sky 5534, contact 28 left, clear to land, wind 26 at 14.
All right, clear to land 28 left, Sky 5534. Tower, flex at 589 on the quiet bridge, visual 28 right.
Flex at 589, snapshot 28 right, clear to land, wind 26014.
Clear to land 28 right, flex at 589.